I sat in that courtroom watching the woman I once loved sitting across from me with cold eyes, and a lawyer who looked like she ate people like me for breakfast. Sarah was trying to take everything from me: my money, my house, my reputation, even my career. I never thought the person I trusted most could become my most dangerous enemy. But life has a funny way of teaching you lessons about trust when you least expect it. I had no idea that ending a relationship could turn into such a brutal war. The judge was flipping through documents, and all I could think was, how did we get here? Before we dive into what happened next, I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you have ever been through a terrible breakup or legal battle, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story will show you that truth always wins in the end, even when it feels like you are losing everything. Stay with me, because what comes next will blow your mind. I met Sarah 3 years ago at a tech conference in San Francisco. She was working marketing for a startup, smart and ambitious. We hit it off immediately, talking for hours about technology, travel, and our dreams. Within 8 months, we moved in together. We rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Portland, Oregon. Life felt good. Really good. I remember those Saturday mornings when we would cook breakfast together. Pancakes, eggs, bacon, the whole deal. We took a trip to Crater Lake one summer, and I can still picture Sarah laughing as we hiked along the rim. We talked about buying a house someday, maybe getting married. Everything seemed to be falling into place. I was a senior software engineer at a mid-sized tech company making $65,000 a year. Sarah worked as a marketing manager, pulling in about $40,000. We split the bills, though I paid more since I earned more. It made sense at the time. We were a team building something together. We were saving up, planning for the future, talking about kids someday. But around 6 months before the breakup, things started changing. Sarah became distant. She would snap at me over small things. I thought it was just work stress. Her startup was going through some rough patches. I tried to be supportive, asking her how I could help, but she kept pushing me away. The warmth between us started to fade, replaced by this cold tension I could not quite understand. Then one night in March, she sat me down and said she wanted to break up. Just like that. No big fight, no dramatic scene. She just said she did not feel it anymore. I was shocked, but tried to respect her decision. We agreed she would move out within a month. I even offered to help her financially with the move. I wanted things to end peacefully, but Sarah started acting strange almost immediately. She asked me to put her name on the lease, even though the apartment was in my name and I had been the one consistently paying rent. I said no. Then she demanded we split all our shared possessions, but most of the furniture and electronics were things I had bought before we even started dating. I agreed to give her some items just to avoid conflict. A coffee maker, some dishes, a small bookshelf. It seemed fair to me. Sarah was not satisfied. She said she deserved more than that. Her words stuck with me because they felt off. Deserved. We were breaking up, not dissolving a business partnership. But I let it go. I thought she was just emotional about the split. A week after she moved out, I got a long text message from her. She accused me of taking advantage of her, financially, throughout our entire relationship. She said I owed her a large sum of money. I was confused and responded politely, explaining that we had shared expenses fairly. I even offered to sit down and go through the numbers if she wanted. She never replied to that message. But a few days later, I received a letter from her lawyer. My hands shook as I opened it. This was real. This was happening. The letter outlined a list of demands and accusations. I could not believe what I was reading. Sarah was claiming I had exploited her, manipulated her into unfair financial arrangements, and emotionally abused her. The words felt like knives. I was baffled, scared, honestly. But I still thought this was just anger talking. I figured once Sarah calmed down, she would drop the whole thing. I had no idea this was only the beginning of a nightmare that would last 6 months and nearly destroy everything I had worked for. 2 weeks after that first lawyer letter, I got served with official court papers. Sarah was suing me. The lawsuit was detailed and brutal. She was demanding $25,000 in compensation for what she called financial exploitation. She claimed I had forced her to sign unfair agreements, though we never had any formal agreements. She accused me of mental abuse throughout the relationship, and she wanted a portion of my assets. I sat there reading those papers over and over, unable to process what was happening. This was the same person who used to curl up next to me on the couch watching movies. The same person I had planned a future with. Now she was trying to destroy me, but it got worse. Sarah started a campaign on social media. She did not mention my name directly, but her posts were obvious. She wrote vague things about escaping a toxic relationship, about finally being free from someone who controlled her. Our mutual friends started seeing these posts. Some of them reached out to me confused. Others just stopped talking to me altogether. At work, a colleague pulled me aside and asked if I was okay. Apparently, word had spread about my legal troubles. My boss called me into his office for a conversation. I had to explain the situation, assure him it would not affect my work. I could see the doubt in his eyes. I felt my reputation crumbling around me. I knew I needed help. I found a lawyer named Marcus Thompson who specialized in family law. Marcus was in his 50s, had gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. When I told him everything, he leaned back in his chair and let out a long breath. "This is serious, Ford," he said. "If you lose this case, you could be looking at significant financial damages and a destroyed reputation. The legal fees alone could run into the tens of thousands. You need to start gathering evidence. Every text message, every email, every receipt. We need to build your defense from the ground up." I spent the next few weeks doing exactly that. I went through 3 years of bank statements, highlighting every transaction. I pulled up old text messages between Sarah and me, looking for anything that showed the real nature of our relationship. I found rent agreements that proved Sarah had not paid her share consistently. I reached out to mutual friends asking if they would be willing to testify about what they had witnessed. Most of them said no. They did not want to get involved in the drama. I understood, but it hurt. I felt alone. The first court hearing was in June. I will never forget walking into that courtroom. The air felt heavy. Sarah sat on the other side with her lawyer, Diana Hartwell, a woman in a sharp suit with an expression that could cut glass. Sarah would not even look at me. Diana presented their case first. She painted me as a manipulative person who had taken advantage of Sarah financially and emotionally. They showed text messages, but they were cut and edited to remove context. They presented statements claiming Sarah had contributed more to the relationship than she actually had. They even had a witness, a friend of Sarah's, who said she had seen Sarah crying multiple times about being exploited. I listened to all of it, feeling like I was in a nightmare. This was not the truth. These were lies built on fragments of reality, twisted into something unrecognizable. When the hearing ended, Marcus pulled me aside. "This is not good," he said quietly. They came prepared. "We need to step up our game for the next session." After that hearing, things got even worse at work. Another colleague started avoiding me. Someone made a comment about not wanting to work with people who had legal issues. My boss called me in again. I could feel the trust slipping away. That night I sat alone in my apartment, the same place where Sarah and I had once been happy, and I felt like everything was falling apart. I could not sleep. The stress was eating me alive. I started questioning myself. Had I done something wrong? Had I been blind to my own behavior? But when I looked back honestly at everything I knew, I had treated Sarah well. I had been generous, supportive, loving. That is when I made my decision. I was not going to give up. I was going to fight this with everything I had. Sarah wanted to destroy me with lies. I would defend myself with the truth. I met with Marcus again, and this time I was determined. We needed a new strategy. We needed to prove that Sarah was not just mistaken, but that she was deliberately lying. Marcus suggested we dig deeper into Sarah's background and her online presence. I remembered Sarah had a personal blog and an active Instagram account where she posted about her life constantly. I started going through her old posts from when we were together. What I found was gold. There were dozens of posts showing Sarah living what she called her best life. Pictures of expensive dinners with captions like, "So grateful for my amazing boyfriend who spoils me." posts about weekend trips where she wrote about being taken care of, photos of gifts I had given her with hearts and thank you messages. She had documented everything, and it all contradicted her current claims of being exploited. I took screenshots of everything before she could delete them. Marcus looked through them and actually smiled for the first time since I had hired him. "This is your smoking gun, Ford," he said. "She cannot claim you took advantage of her when she was publicly bragging about how well you treated her. But we needed more.